Welcome to today's explainer. If you're a focused learner looking to really unpack the deeper nuts and bolts mechanics of success, well, you're in the exact right place. Today, we're dissecting a truly fascinating philosophy of prosperity derived from a landmark text published back on January 11th, 1997. We're going to break down how this framework completely redefines wealth, taking us from a grand cosmic perspective all the way down to the practical, daily routines you can start using tomorrow morning. To anchor our analysis today, we're looking directly at the original Japanese source material, specifically zeroing in on Chapter 3, which outlines this core mindset for prosperity. What makes this January 1997 text so incredibly compelling is how seamlessly it blends these abstract spiritual concepts with highly practical life and business advice. We're going to impartially map out this unique paradigm so you can see exactly how these ideas are built from the ground up.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap. First up, the instinct of faith. Second, habits for true prosperity. Third, building your success capital. And fourth, the power of altruism. Part 1, the instinct of faith, humanity's cosmic position.
Now, before the text even touches on the concept of money or business, it establishes a really fascinating philosophical baseline. It draws a very sharp line between human and animal existence. The core argument here is that while animals are fundamentally driven by the basic instinct for physical survival, human beings are separated by what the author calls the instinct of faith. According to the source, this intrinsic spiritual drive, this innate reaching towards something greater than ourselves, is the actual engine that powers human progress. The framework acknowledges a pretty wild paradox, too. It points out that human beings are incredibly small, almost insignificant, really, when you compare us to the vastness of the cosmos. Yet the text locates our true value and nobility not in our physical size or power, but in our capacity to align our lives with the mind of Buddha or God. In this paradigm, true prosperity isn't just about accumulating stuff. It actually starts with aligning your personal will with this much broader divine will. Let's move to part 2 and see how this builds. Habits for true prosperity, grounding the abstract. So how do we actually apply a grand cosmic philosophy to, say, a random Tuesday afternoon? To bridge the gap between the spiritual and the material, the text strongly recommends cultivating what it calls the 4 good habits: reflection, reading, diligence, and daily application. In this context, these aren't just nice, feel-good ideas. They are the essential, rigorous daily steps you have to take to realize actual prosperity. Let's break down the core 3. Now, what's really interesting about this is how reflection is framed. We so often think of reflection as just passive journaling at the end of the day, right? But this text defines it as a highly proactive spiritual correction. It's the deliberate practice of identifying your mistakes, correcting them, and, in the literal language of the text, erasing sins. It's an active mental purification process designed to keep your mind laser-focused on growth. The second core habit is reading. But again, it's not viewed as just light entertainment. The text frames reading as literally unlocking and absorbing a vital treasure trove of wisdom. The idea is, if you want to expand your prosperity, you absolutely must first expand your mind. And reading is presented as the primary mechanism for downloading the wisdom of those who have successfully navigated life before you. And the third habit is diligence. The author makes a brilliant reframing here. Diligence isn't described as grinding through a miserable job just to pay the bills. Instead, it's defined as cultivating the profound ability to genuinely enjoy working. Easier said than done, sure. But the argument is that when work ceases to be a burden and actually becomes a joyful endeavor, the friction to achieving prosperity essentially disappears. Which brings us to part 3, building your success capital, the holistic portfolio. Once those daily habits are locked in, we move into the actual mechanics of growth. The source completely redefines capital as a 3-pronged holistic investment in yourself. First, you have financial capital, which means saving your own funds to build a solid economic base. Second is intellectual capital, meaning gathering knowledge and polishing your skills to enhance your capabilities. And third is physical capital, training your physical and mental strength to ensure longevity and stamina. To be truly prosperous, you have to invest heavily across the board. And this brilliantly illustrates the balance we're talking about. Think of your personal capital as 3 roughly equal slices of a pie. You've got your self-funds, your knowledge and skills, and your physical and mental strength. If you spend all your time frantically saving cash but you let your physical strength deteriorate, your overall prosperity portfolio is entirely out of balance, and frankly, at serious risk of collapse. In fact, the text offers a pretty stark warning regarding that third slice of the pie. It explicitly states that strict health management is a completely non-negotiable requirement. Without a baseline of physical and mental health, none of the other forms of capital, not your money in the bank, not your brilliant intellect, can actually be leveraged. Health is quite literally the foundational infrastructure of your success. Part 4. The Power of Altruism, the Prosperity Loop. This brings us to the final stage of the text's philosophy, where we zoom all the way out from the individual to societal impact. At the absolute heart of this section is a simple yet incredibly demanding quote, "For the world, for people." The text reaches a definitive conclusion here that isolated, entirely self-contained individual happiness does not actually exist. If your pursuit of wealth ends only with yourself, it's fundamentally incomplete. So, the crucial point is that altruism isn't just viewed as some obligatory act of charity in this framework. It is literally the ultimate driver of lasting success. By deploying your three types of capital, your funds, your knowledge, and your physical energy, with a genuine heart of service towards others, you create real value in the world. And according to the text, that value creation inevitably cycles right back to you, creating this continuous, self-reinforcing prosperity loop. Which leaves us with a truly profound final thought to consider. We've seen how this framework connects the cosmic instinct of faith all the way down to your daily habits and your personal capital to societal service. But the ultimate test is how it applies to your own daily grind. If true prosperity is actually impossible to achieve entirely alone, who are you building your capital for today? Take a moment to really reflect on that. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.